Wasabi guys, we are back with 5 more gainers using MTG stocks as usual. Now, believe it or not, the biggest gainers, I don't even think it's necessarily because of the changes, any of the new cards that are being introduced with Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Some of these just seem to be pretty solid cards on their own. But before we get into it, first I would like to remind you, if you have not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Helps me out a ton. We are well past 30,000 and it means a lot. So the first card here to talk about is Entomb from Odyssey. Now this is the original Entomb. Although I'm certain you're going to find a bit of a price change in the other Entombs, this one seems to be the biggest gainer. Original prints that are harder to find tend to be a little bit more expensive anyway. I mean, what more do we really have to say about the power of searching up cards in a format like Commander? This card's always going to be good, it's always going to be sought after, and the strength of graveyard decks also plays into that as well. The more powerful graveyard strategies we have, the more likely people are going to be in the market looking for something like Entomb. Now I have to clarify this, when you see like $80, you're not going to get $80 for your Entomb right now. You have to look at the market price, and the market price is under 40 still. But that's still great, that's still growth. This is a card that for a long time it was around $20, so if you're getting close to double that after holding on to yours for a while, like I've had mine for about 5 years, there's a lot to be happy about. Even if it's not a significant gain, I could totally see it reaching $80 one day. The next one we have is another oldie, Serenity from Weatherlight. Now this is kind of in that area where you have a lot of cards from Weatherlight that are reserve list. Serenity is not one of them. What we get here is a pretty underrated way of destroying all artifacts and enchantments. For only 2 mana, yes, only 2 mana, it sits on the field, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you destroy all artifacts and enchantments, which does include itself since it is an enchantment, but to do that for only the 2 mana and just waiting is a pretty solid deal. And I think a lot of people are starting to recognize that. This is totally more than a sub $2 card. Artwork looks pretty cool too. It's $3 right now. Could totally see it being at least $6. And this could be seeing play because of all of the enchantment support that's coming out of the new Kamigawa set. So if you have any way of easily bringing back enchantments, Serenity could be a headache. And this one's pretty weird, but this was a big change from last week. Kusari-Gama from the original Kamigawa set and Champions of Kamigawa. I don't know where this synergizes. You know it has to be because of the new set that it's getting more attention, but for the longest time it's been like a bulk rare. Only a couple dollars at best. So for it to get around $10, I think that's pretty crazy. And for what it does, I guess it could be somewhat compared to Steel Hellkite, but maybe even a better option if you're just looking to deal damage to creatures regardless of what you're able to hit. But it is in that same spirit going to be used to deal with an opponent's board if they have a lot of creatures. You are paying 3 mana for an equipment with an equip cost of 3, which to me I think makes it even more comparable to Steel Hellkite. You do have a nice little pump ability where you can give the creature +1 power for 2 mana. I like it. I don't think it's necessarily relevant for any new strategy that's going to be coming out in the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty set. It's just getting more attention probably because people are looking back in old Kamigawa to see what they can use to synergize with new Kamigawa. It makes perfect sense, and people are looking at this card and going, wait a minute, not a lot of people have been playing with it. And the next card is from Commander 2020, and we're used to seeing this. Cards that were only printed in Commander products going up significantly, and for a long time, like even at the very beginning of this year, this has been a dirt cheap rare. But now we're seeing it getting around $7. I think that's incredible. I'm not the biggest fan of fog cards. I think they can be pretty annoying. But here we have a free Commander fog. So if you have your Commander, you get to play it without paying its mana cost. You prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures your opponents control, so it's even better than just a fog, because it allows you to deal all the damage. It allows you to win out in combat, and your opponent's creatures aren't going to be dealing combat damage in return. So this is a great card out of all of the cards from Commander 2020 where you get them for free if you have your Commander out there. I always thought this one was a little underrated. It doesn't counter spells, it doesn't exile creatures or redirect targets like the other popular ones do, but when the game's on the line, this could be a game-winning play. And the last card to talk about today is Days Undoing, an old friend from Magic Origins going back 7 years. I know it's been a long time, but this card was always cool looking. I looked at it and read it and like, wow, this is Time Twister. This is going to see play in every single blue deck until it didn't. And then ever since, you'd be lucky to get maybe a couple dollars out of it. It is starting to see a bit of movement and it could easily go back to 10. But as you're probably noticing by now looking at that chart, this seems to be doing this every year now. 2019, it jumped up a bit and then settled again. 2021, it jumped up a bit and then settled again. Here we're just hoping that if it jumps up and settles again, it consolidates around new support. Maybe instead of going back down to only $3 or $4, it settles around $6 or $7. But I like it even if it does just end the turn after you play it. I think it's going to get the job done. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video. We had 5 gainers here for this week, February 1st, 2022. Stay tuned because I will be talking about even more Kamigawa Neon Dynasty stuff. Got a lot of future commander options I would like to build around. And of course the top 10 videos, the rankings. Commander Void here signing off. I will see you all next time.